Hello my friends, Jacob's here one more time. Thank you for pressing the play button, for spending some quality time with me. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I feel like it's been forever. It's been forever since I've come and I've talked to all of you, and you're probably wondering why I put a post out and I said, I got a big announcement coming. And then everybody was like, well, where's the announcement, Jacob? Where's the announcement? Well, I didn't have a chance to tell you. So here is the announcement. It's connected to something incredibly profound in my life. So the channel's gone through, it's gone through a bunch of challenges over the years, but nothing that the old Jacob can't handle, with all of you helping in the wings, smashing the like and sharing and subscribing. But today, it's changed. The whole thing is changed. The whole direction of everything is changed. I didn't really expect it to happen. I was hoping it didn't have to happen. But God, at some point in your life, He's going to tell you, maybe it's time that you go back. You go back to the beginning again. You go back to the beginning. The way things were before you worried about paying the bills, before you were worried about that, because I had a job. I had a job that paid the bills. So I did my YouTube videos when I was selling the old mattresses, which I love doing. It's so important. You help people find support, rest, all that stuff. I've been applying to a bunch of jobs for writing and a bunch of other things. I had something lined up that would have been perfect, would have allowed me to continue to do YouTube the way I thought I would be able to do it. That didn't work out. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. But I couldn't get a job. I don't know, I've been trying for months and months and months, and I was starting to think, well, maybe because they go to my YouTube channel and they look and they see all the goofy thumbnails and they judge the fisherman by the bait, which they shouldn't do. Because of course it's a treasure when you press play and you get to hear these wonderful things that I'm talking about. And I have a huge show, just so you know, just before you start thinking I'm done with YouTube. I'm not. I needed a job where I can make good money and make up the difference that's happened since, the absolute hate there is for the name Israel in the world, and also the accident that left me with this permanent nonstop noise in my head, and just the climate and the algorithm and everything else. It's been a challenge. And I didn't want to put anything behind a paywall. I didn't want to be like, oh, you want to get my videos, you got to do this or that. I don't offer anybody anything. Really, that's like on Patreon, the people that do it there, they get to be on the Zooms and they get to meet with me and stuff. But the video ends up here. I don't want to put stuff behind a paywall. I don't want to sell miracle oil that I know a lot of, people that are in this niche little world that I'm in, where you talk about world events and you speculate and you tie it to biblical things and prophecy. I didn't want to sell you miracle oil. I have somebody who's been begging me to do it for a long time, and all that these big ones, they do it. They sell this and they sell that, and they tell you, oh, the Lord's going to do this for you. And I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm not here to sell you anything. This YouTube channel is a sacrifice. It's my greatest gift that the Lord's given me. Years ago, when I was fleeing Christian television, if you will, that's what I did. I came to this place and I built the altar. I started doing videos, in my den to begin with, and then that you take it in the spirit that it is given, which is the spirit of compassion and love and hope and excitement, because I'm excited to tell you about this today. When this room opened up, I built like an altar for the Lord here, much like Jacob did in his life. He went to work, he was fleeing his brother. He ended up working for Laban, the sheep shearer. He was a shepherd, much like I was when I was working for Christian TV and everything else. But then I fled Christian TV many, many, many moons ago. And since then, I've been doing this pretty nonstop, pretty constant. Been on YouTube since 2008. But recently, I've been very down in the dumps because I know that this isn't something that's sustainable. And I really didn't want to give up on all of you. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to say, oh, I can't do YouTube anymore. And I just didn't want to have a job where I couldn't do this. And I'm sure that if I got into TV or I was looking for this, that, and the other thing, and I could leave this behind me, which I would never do, I'm sure that things would be different. Then you wouldn't see me on here, but I couldn't do it because I feel like God still wants this for my life. I'm sure a lot of people actually thought when you haven't seen me post in the last couple of days, because I've been posting, just so you know, just to make, just to keep up with like all of the incredible news that's coming out. But I've been working, I've been grinding non-stop. And it's gotten, as much as I love doing it, it's gotten very hard to do because you worry, are people going to like it? Are they going to share it? Are enough people going to see it so that I can continue to do this job that I love so much? Before, it wasn't a job. It wasn't a job when I was selling mattresses and I was doing it. It was more of a passion. Sure, I was making some bucks here and there, but it was a passion. And so when I got the call that they wanted to hire me at the competition to my old company, which is interesting because I wouldn't really want to go back to work for that old company. They were during the virus of the crown and everything with the mandates and and then with the wackadoo that they said you had to have, and it was like the environment was not the environment I wanted, and I'd been there, and I was a week shy of 10 years when I said, that's it. In fact, there was a guy who I think is great. At the time I didn't like him so much, but he was kind of like the final straw. And ironically, the day that I got the call that they wanted to hire me, I got the call that very same guy was let go from that company. So strange. So I felt like there was a little serendipity to it, like that God was in charge of something. And then I started thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could end up working with him? Because it was one thing, he was one of the top dogs there, and I was the top dog there, and it would always be fun to do it. And now he's with this company, so God's given me this chance to do this again. So I'm back to selling mattresses. Very excited about it. The last couple of days I've been training. I'm being trained by a great guy named John, who's amazing. And when I get the store that I'm getting, I think they're putting me in a rather slow store. I'm going to be able to continue to do this. This is what God does. God, he will tell you, okay, it's time to rededicate your life. So what we're doing is we're bringing you back to the beginning. Hello, my friends. Jacob is here. That's what happened to Jacob's life. That's what happened. He built the altar and everything else, and then he had so much trouble, and he had turmoil, and he had all sorts of things. But then at one point, he makes peace with Esau, his brother. He makes peace with Esau's brother, much like I kind of made peace with Daystar Television and everything else after they let me go. I kind of, made amends with them, forgave them, if you will. And it's ironic that my life sort of parallels this story, where Jacob, in his life, in Genesis, right before Genesis 35, he probably felt like maybe God wasn't there for him anymore. So technology is out of control, and so is this show. So buckle up, people, because you're in for a ride. He probably felt that way because there was so much going on, with what happened to his daughter and with what was going on with his family and his sons. But God says, I want you to go back to Bethel. I want you to go back, Jacob. Go back to where it started. This is where it started. Me selling mattresses, which, so incredibly significant to help someone find them good support, find them relief, and have them finally enter into some kind of a rest. I always loved the symbolism to this job, and I'm a very good salesman, and you can do rather well. I mean, we'll see. We'll see with the store that I'm going to be in. But I have faith that God will always provide for me and always bring me to where I need to go. And here I am once again, Lord, back to where I started. And why? Well, because I didn't want to, put a bunch of videos behind a paywall. I didn't want to, tease a show and then say, oh, you got to pay $10 a month if you want to watch my videos. Didn't want to do that. All my stuff is very, very free. My jacobisrael.com, free. All my webs, my stuff that I have on the web's free. Everything's free. The people that support me here, channel members, you get a couple of perks, right? I get to see your comments every time. It's like $5 if you want to support the channel. That's one way you can do it. You get a couple of perks, but the message, the truth, the thing that God wants me to share, I can't put that behind a, so, and I can't give up what God, because I believe that this year, in fact, is going to be huge. And I told Danielle, I said to her, you know what's going to be funny? I'm going to start back at this job. And I've been waiting to hear something about my novel, The Calling, which, by the way, if you don't have a copy of The Calling, go to Amazon.com and get a copy. It'll be like the best book you've ever read. You'll feel so good about it when you read it, too, because the story is incredible, all right? And it's really, it's like my life's work. But I said, I bet we'll hear about the audiobook or something. I didn't hear about the audiobook. But my second day in training, which is like, I'm in front of a computer for hours and hours just doing courses after courses. But the good news is I've done this already. So I know what I'm doing. So it's like, who wants to start a new job where you're starting fresh? Travis, both him and I have been talking online, him and Jennifer. He's been trying to get work for a long time. I know a lot of you out there are probably trying to get work, and it's very, very difficult. Ironically, the day that I started work, Travis got his job. Thank God for that, Travis. Go, Travis. He started work today, too. I was very excited because, we are kind of like a family. We are all the Israelites, if you will. And if I can be an example to you of somebody that you probably see this and you probably think, oh, he's doing so great. My son is making so much more money than me right now selling mattresses that I said, Lord, well, you got to do something. And then I get a call. And then boom. Here I am now on my son's competition. That's right, Noah. That's right, Noah. We're going to see. I trained him, huh? You see if the student has become the master. He's like the #1 salesman over at the competition. He's unbelievable. My family is unbelievable. My life is unbelievable. But I told Danielle, I said, wouldn't it be funny? I start training at this job, right? And I get some information about my book. And guess what happens yesterday? I get an email from the assistant secretary, somebody in Cincinnati, for the senior agent at a huge literary agency. I'm not going to tell you yet because I don't want to spoil it. So I'm reading this thing and I almost deleted it because, when you have books out there, even though The Calling has done well, it's got like over 1,000 5-star reviews. It's an amazing book. It's a trilogy. And I told everybody 2025 is the year, but hey, we only got like half a year left, so something's got to break, right? So I get this email, and this guy says that somehow my book, was found, put through the little process of the reading and everything, and made it to the desk of the top editor in New York. Huge. Much bigger than the agents that I was hoping to get acquainted with, who wanted nothing to do with me, didn't even look at my book. Talked to the guy yesterday. He tells me he's going to buy the Kindle. He asked me to send it over. I said, no, you can, because if you're real, you'll buy the Kindle. I'm not going to send you a copy. I'm at work right now. I'm learning about how important it is to have temperature sensitive, cooling material on your mattress so that because your body temperature goes up and down, all this stuff. It's important, people. Sleep's important, right? Who wants to be hot at night? So he's going to read it and then send me over some notes, and then I'm going to go into the city, sign some paperwork, and I'm going to have this top agent represent me and maybe get me a book deal. But it was funny because I told Danielle, I said, this is probably going to happen. And then boom, there it is. Less than 24 hours after I start, because this is the way God works. This is what happened in Jacob's life. It's ironic too, because in Jacob's life, God told him, rededicate yourself to me completely. Purify your house. Get rid of all the foreign gods. Quit drinking, right? Since the accident, it was before the accident, I quit. I drank, I think once. I was like, oh, let me see, because I never had, I know people have problems with it. I wasn't like I had an alcohol problem, but I felt like once I'm like, oh, let me see if I'm missing anything. And I didn't miss anything. I don't drink anymore. I started studying more. I mean, I'm always in communication with God, but I got to my children more. I continued to tell them how important it was to put God first in their life. And that's what Noah was saying to me too, which is amazing. He was just telling me the other night, because I said, I don't know where they're going to put me. And he says, it doesn't matter, Dad, because of course, wherever you go, God is going to have his hand on your life. To hear my son say that just felt great, because I didn't force religion on my children. You don't have to do that. The scriptures don't say force your child to go to your Catholic church or your non-denominational church and to say this and say that prayer. Don't force your children. It says train up your child in the way they should go. You let them know about the Lord. You use your life as an example. Thank God my children are blessed. Thank God that my wife is blessed. Thank God that I am blessed. Didn't want to come on here crying. You all had no idea how financially I was having such issues. Still am until I get, the paycheck. And then things start to get a little easier because I'm in training. You don't make as much in training. But my point is that I didn't come on here and do any of that because I knew that God was going to work it out at some point. And he does. And how does he do it? He does it in a way where I can now reconcile with somebody that, because I loved my job. I would have never left my job. Who wants to leave like a job where you're doing videos in the back alley before you go into work? And who wants to leave that? Who wants to leave that? For the last 3 years, I've been in my home, and it's been a wonderful time. But it's also like, who wants to be home nonstop? It's like, this isn't a house arrest, because I don't look at it that way, and it's wonderful to be. But sometimes change is good. So this change, just so you know, I just want to give you the heads up, over the next couple of weeks, I may not have as many videos coming out. Doesn't mean I'm not going to. So make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you're liking and you're helping me out by leaving a comment and everything else. Make sure you come by, check to see if I have a video up, because YouTube's not going to always tell you. Make sure you do all that stuff. But during training, I really got to focus, right? But when I get into the store and I'm all alone for 10 hours, it's like 10 hours, by the way, 5 days a week. It's going to be a 50-hour week. But there's a blessing in that, because you get that overtime, right? You get paid overtime even if you're on commission, and it's supposedly not taxable anymore. So there's a blessing in it. I've been home for all my children. I've raised them all. I've always been home. Noah's now going to be 25. Anthony's going to be 24. Shiloh's going to be 22. Ethan is going to be 14, and he's starting high school. I'm in a good place where now I can go back to Bethel. I can go back to a place where I can help people find rest and get paid to do it while I'm also doing what I love. I don't have to give this up. If I was working on a TV show, you'd seen me never. Not saying that they would hire me after looking at my channel, but my point is, I can continue to do this now. This is where it started. This is how it started. And I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for all of you. And I wanted to let you all know this. And I'm also planning on, I have a great live show. There's so much to talk about. Don't think that I've stopped, okay? Because I'm up in the morning, like 4:45. And I'm working. I'm still on X all the time at Jacob Israel 71. You'll still see me posting sporadically through the day. Make sure that you get involved and get excited, because this is going to be a year of big change. And just because it looks like you may be going and taking a step backward, sometimes before you run, you got to step back so you can go and do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to get reestablished. Just like Jacob, when he was told, he says, go back to Bethel. And then he said to his family, he's like, you know what? Get rid of all the foreign gods. And he went and he reestablished that altar. So I'm reestablishing the ladder right here in my home. Reestablishing my commitment to sharing to the best of my ability from a place of sincerity and hopefully a place of, revelation and truth. But let God be true, right? And every man a liar. So there you have it. That's why I've been, gone. It's been difficult, but God provides, right? And I'm not one of those people that be like, come on, you got to help me out or I'm going off. You know, listen, we all need help today. And I want you in the comments section to get involved with each other. Help each other out. Patreon's a great group. If you want to get involved with Patreon, I'm going to do a Zoom because I missed this month. I usually do it the last week of the month, but I'm going to do it on Sunday. So if you're on Patreon, get excited for that. You'll see a post about it. And if you're not, you can do that. It's like $5 if you want to do the Zoom. Then it'll turn into a show that you'll see who knows when. Who knows when until my training is over. All right, listen. Let me know if you're doing great. I hope that this wasn't too weird and off-putting. I feel like this is a step in the right direction because I'll tell you one thing. I'm not that worried anymore about whether or not I'm going to be able to make the bills. I'm not that worried anymore. Now I know that I have a solid, income coming in, and I don't have to rely on the beast system. You know what I mean? All right, listen, I love each and every one of you. If you want to support the channel and you do want to help, right, you can go into the links in the description. You click underneath the video, and then you're going to have to look for a little area, and you click it again, and it opens up. It'll say like more, and then all the links are there. PayPal, Patreon, all of this stuff. You want to get truly free home products, use code Jacob, get 30% off. You want to get a copy of The Calling, the links are all there. Everything's there. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for everything you've done. Been on here a long time, and I'm really excited to see where it's going. It's exciting about this agent. I hope it's not one of the Charlie Brown things. All right, I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.